The View's Whoopi Goldberg, star of my favorite movie, bane of progressives everywhere, slammed critics of Amazon's new series, The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power. Let's listen.
I want to start by saying these are not real, okay? The new Lord of the Rings series, The Rings of Power, and Game of Thrones prequel, House of the Dragon, are both massive hits, but they don't exist in the real world, okay? There are no dragons, there are no hobbits, you know that. And there are critics who are saying they were too woke by adding diverse characters. Are you telling me black people can't be fake people too?
Yeah.
Is that what you're telling me?
You can be a dragon. Well,
I don't know if there's like a hobbit, club. I don't know if they're going to be protests. But people, what is wrong with y'all?
Oh, this comes after Tesla CEO Elon Musk reignited his rivalry with Amazon founder Jeff Bezos after Musk bashed the new Lord of the Rings series. Musk tweeted that Tolkien would be rolling in his grave due to the fact that almost every male character in the show so far is a coward, jerk, or both. Only Galadriel is brave, smart, and nice. Galadriel being an elven, female elf hero. You might remember her from the original Lord of the Rings films, which she's played by Cate Blanchett. So this is a prequel that takes place many thousands of years earlier, but the elves live a very long time.
Well, Robbie, as our resident
I
expert,
have wanted to talk about this. Casual viewers of the show might have come to the realization that I'm a little bit of a nerd on these topics.
Well, that's why I need your opinion. I want to know, is Whoopi Goldberg right? Are there no Hobbit clubs? Is there going to be a march on Hobbitville? What do you make of all of this?
So right. This was a criticism that some people have made, some people on the right, that like they're going woke or something by trying to do diverse casting. I don't know that I really felt that way about it. I take Whoopi's point that it's a fictional realm. I mean, you want some fidelity to the actual vision of the creative author, in this part Tolkien, in which really because there's a lot of elves are a race, dwarves are a race. There's a lot of enmity between them.
Do they talk about the skin color of those races, or just the fact that they're short or giant?
Skin color is not the racial characteristic.
Right.
It's right. I mean, there's vast racial differences between elves and dwarves and the other races. It's not skin color.
So he doesn't say that elves are also fair. Like sometimes
they are described as fair.
Okay.
Yeah, they're described as fair.
So I mean, there was this big brouhaha, I remember, around the one with Jennifer Lawrence where she shoots bows and arrows. The Hunger Games, where Rue, the character, was actually described in the book as kind of darker skinned or olive, so something like that, but they cast a black girl and people lost their minds, and some folks who read the original books were like, actually she is described as like dusky or something that could be plausibly read as black if you wanted to, and in fact it is a kind of fidelity to the material. Well, I mean, I think I agree that if a character is described very specifically in a way that suggests that they are in fact pale, then it makes sense to cast someone that is faithful to the material. But if they are described merely as, let's say, blonde, like the Targaryens are, white-haired or silver-haired,
we're gonna get to them in a minute.
Okay.
Hold on for that. But the only other thing I want to say about the Lord of the Rings stuff, it's really gender is more of the issue, because Tolkien does not have very many female adventure hero type characters. And I do take Elon Musk's point. I don't know that I would have agreed with him that strongly, that it does have a kind of rah-rah feminism about it, which is just fine. It can have. I'm not enjoying it very much. I'm not enjoying it because it's like too woke or something. I'm not like in love with the story of it yet. I actually fell asleep during the second episode.
So are there new characters? There's gender
This is a prequel.
swapping?
This is thousands of years ago. So they're inventing some of the characters that aren't that don't exist. Like they're the proto hobbits. These are the little people who will become hobbits eventually, and like they have this girl character who I don't think she exists, and maybe she exists somewhere in all the prior materials. I don't think so. I think they invented her.
Okay, so the argument that Elon Musk is making is that the version of the books and shows that we all are familiar with,
a lot of strong masculine male heroes.
So it's like an admission that it's male dominated and there haven't been a lot of compelling female characters.
They're trying to like vastly overcorrect.
And he's upset that the entire canon to date is not enough to bolster his
I think
masculinity.
it feels like an overcorrecting in an annoying way.
So one show that has strong female characters is an overcorrection for the entire canon of Lord of the Rings to date that has almost no strong female characters.
I don't know. I love what they're doing with the character Galadriel, the one we're talking about.
Yeah.
Like they make her. I mean, she's very awesome in the original Lord of the Rings movie. She's a sorceress. She's like the most powerful person.
Kate
She's
Blanchett.
very cool. Now they're giving her. They make her like a really good sword fighter too. And
well, that's
it's
the
not,
problem. Like,
it's just
I think that sometimes these are there is a kind of forcedness in some of this stuff, like the female Ghostbusters, and it's difficult to disentangle critics who just don't like when girls are starring versus critics who are actually upset about the heavy-handedness with which women have been characterized as the star, and it's difficult, it's frustrating, and I think it sets women back and marginalized groups back when these characters are handled so poorly. But I do wish that someone like Elon could just criticize the character for substantive reasons, if there are substantive reasons, instead of calling it wokeness.
Let's turn to House of the Dragon now, which you do watch. We discuss House of the Dragon before we start rolling.
Yes, we do.
So the criticism here does make a certain amount of sense. The House Valyrian, this group of people who are closely related to the main Targaryens of the show. This is the Targaryens, if you remember Daenerys Targaryen, they all have like very white blonde hair, very pale skin. Their close relatives, House Valyrian, are depicted in this prequel as black. They're all black.
Oh, I thought the wife is. Oh, she's not from their same family.
She's a Targaryen who married into the family.
Okay.
But they're supposed to be closely related and from the same city beyond Westeros that they came to. So making them I understand. It's not a very diverse cast. If you didn't do that.
Or is the main character, and then we're seeing his brother and his kids and stuff. So obviously all of his immediate relations.
His soldiers
are black.
aren't necessarily, but yes, the blood members of House Valyrian are black. They to show that they're closely related to the Targaryens, they still gave them that very silver or yellow hair. It's a very odd look. I don't know how you feel about it.
Oh, I think it looks great, but I'm curious.
It's a look.
I'm curious what it says, in the book. Again, does it specifically say that this family of people is pale-skinned, or does it say that they are Valyrians or Targaryens?
It says that they're closely related to the Targaryens, and there's some assumption that they look similar.
I don't know. I've got some pretty pale cousins, Robbie.
I'm right. There's great range, but it's interesting though. There might actually be a plot reason to do it, other than just wanting to have diverse casting, because there's going to be some, without spoilers, anything. If you can't handle even having a hint of a thing in the future, turn this off now. I don't want to be accused of this again. I spoiled someone's death in the original series in an article I wrote. I've never been forgiven for it.
Oh, Robbie.
I haven't forgiven myself.
Have they kicked you out of the D&D nights on Wednesday?
Thank goodness, no. There's going to be some marrying and maybe who's the baby daddy? We're not quite sure. Where the skin color could be a factor. You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying. And I very much look forward to the union that's being hinted at right now.
Okay.
I, for one, am a big fan of this casting. For some superficial reasons. When my friends and I were watching them, we were very thrilled about some of the optics that were going on there. But look, I appreciate when people want fidelity to the material, but I do think that ultimately this is kind of a nothing burger. Sometimes you get a great actor and you just want him in a role, and I do think it's nice to not have those kind of constraints as long as it's not distracting. And to Whoopi's point, in a fantasy realm, I don't know how troubled I would be by that.
Well, you want consistency of the whole there are dragons, so it's okay if things don't make sense. That's not true. Things should make sense. The dragon should be made to make sense, and
Look, I'll say this. I thought, for example, that I really like Emilia Clarke as an actress, but I felt that she was miscast in the original because she didn't seem.
Not a Daenerys fan here.
Yeah, I felt like she should have been a taller, more athletic, more powerful person just to fit the role. Now, that's not about race. I thought that, but typically she just never seemed to embody the fierce spirit that she was supposed to have. She seemed always very vulnerable to me, and it didn't fit with the role. So I think that it's completely legitimate to say that there are expectations you have from a character, and casting does involve looks. But I think in some cases race is important to the role and is part of that, and in other cases I'm a little bit more flexible. And I think because of the nature of the show, and I haven't read the books. Maybe I'd feel differently if I saw the specific descriptions in the books and if it really, undermined my reading of it. But as a novel viewer who is not as expert as you, Robbie, I gotta say, this particular instance isn't bothering me.
No, it's not bothering me that much. People would say if you want to bring in diverse casting, you got to have more Dornish, like the Dornish are portrayed as actually having a sort of different ethnicity or being a mix of white
like
people and like
Eastern.
Hispanic or Middle Eastern or kind of like a Moorish maybe kind of deal going on, something like that.
Okay.
So I think the original series handled that pretty well. We'll have to see about this. I'm just going to be entertained by everyone trying to keep all these names straight of all these characters, which are all the names. There's an Aegon, an Aemond, a Daemon, Rhaenyra, Rhaenys. They're all.
It sounds miserable to read, but okay to watch, especially with subtitles. That's how I'm doing it.
Cersei should have won. That's my Game of Thrones hot take for the day.
Amen.
Tomorrow on Rising, we'll be back with more friends of the show to get into the big news of the day.
Be sure to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss any content. And for those of you who like to listen while on the go, we are now available anywhere you listen to podcasts, and catch us on the Plex TV app.
See you tomorrow.
Bye-bye.